In the cold ocean depths, we discovered a giant whale. Rusted chains and a heavy anchor were weighing it down. At that moment, we knew it had been trapped for a very long time. We carefully worked with hand saws, cutting through the rusted chains bit by bit. In the heavy waters, every stroke sparked a small flame of hope. We realized the chains were too thick, beyond what human strength could break. With no other choice, we decided to rig cables in a large buoy, pulling that life back from the depths of despair. We wrestled against the heavy currents, fastening cable after cable around the whale's body. The steel lines strained to their limits under its immense weight. Yet we knew, as long as hope remained, we would not stop. Even the strongest cables began to strain under the crushing weight. We secured additional lift bags, pouring all our hopes into their fragile buoyancy amidst the cold, endless sea. As the cables tightened, we watched the whale's body lift ever so slightly. A tiny spark of hope had just flickered, when the lift bag began to deflate, flooding the depths with fear once more. The currents grew stronger, swirling relentlessly around us. The chains tangled deeper into the coral reefs, tightening their cruel grip. With every passing minute, hope slipped further away. We turned to a larger saw, hoping to break through the chains. But even as the blade screeched through the cold waters, the lynx held firm. We watched it slow down, each tail flick weaker, each breath more fragile. The last strength of that mighty creature was fading before our eyes. Just when all seemed lost, news came. 3 small lift bags had been found on the ship. We hurried to fasten them to the whale's body, gathering every ounce of buoyancy we had left to pull it back from the abyss. At last, the whale's body broke the surface, heavy and drenched. We moved it onto the ship's deck, where modern machines awaited. The rescue mission was far from over. We assessed its condition, shallow breath, a chilling stillness in its body. Without delay, the rescue saws roared to life, slicing through the rusted chains and the heavy anchor clinging to it. The chains were as thick as a grown man's arm, rusted yet unyielding. A massive anchor clamped tightly onto its tail. Even with the strength of the ocean in its veins, it could not break free. Seeing the chains tangled so tightly around its body, I realized it must have struggled desperately when first caught by the anchor. Each desperate thrash had only bound it tighter in its silent prison. We dared not hesitate. Water was poured endlessly over its skin, while gentle hands massaged its fins and head. Each fragile breath became a silent prayer for life to return.
Amidst the silver waves, it gave a powerful flick of its tail and spouted water skyward, a silent thank you. We stood still, waving farewell, as a life returned to the boundless ocean.